Revising during your exams is incredibly important. This can be the make or break between grades and passes and failures and eights and nines and things like that. 2 years ago, I took my GCSEs and I got all nines. So today I'm going to be talking to you in detail about how I would revise during exam season and what I'd recommend for you guys to do the same. This video should be helpful to all GCSE students, so I'd really recommend watching the entire video as I recently did my GCSEs, so I know firsthand and recently what it was like to sit my exams and achieve high grades. So firstly, I'm going to get straight into this. Please make sure you subscribe and leave a like. And I'm going to try and keep my advice as practical as possible. My channel is intended to be very interactive, so please leave any comments, anything like that, and I will respond if you want any specific advice, anything like that. Just leave a comment down below and I'll make sure I respond to all of them. Okay, my first piece of advice is use a planner / diary / anything to know your dates of your exams inside out. What I did in my planner was I would write in red the dates of my exams, which exam I had, AM or PM, across the entire exam period. I did that before exams started. It's really important that you know when your exam dates are. You could do this if you don't have a paper planner, maybe do it online or print out or have a calendar, something like that. But this is an essential. Everyone should do this and should know exactly when their exams are. And if you do it with the way I did it in a planner, you could see clearly which days you don't have an exam, when you have exams coming up, stuff like that. So that's really useful to visualize when your exams are, when you have 2 exams, when you have exams in the next week, things like that. So that's my first piece of advice that is absolutely essential, is that you know when your exams are and the order of your exams. Okay, my next piece of advice is during exams, I would focus on the upcoming exams. So they would be a bit more of a priority to me, but I would not lose sight and I would not stop revising exams in the future. This is really important because I think a lot of people really cram and only do exams like a day ahead, a day in advance. What this means is that you can start to forget stuff. So say you've got chemistry paper 2 at the end of the exams, you can start to forget in that month. If you just don't revise it until the day before, you can forget knowledge about it. Still going over the exams that you have in a month's time is really helpful for your memory, just for everything, for revision. Okay, so what I would do is when I had, say, exams coming up in the next few days, I would try to do, instead of doing 5 hours the day before, I would maybe do 1 hour in the 2 days before, the 3 days before, and then like 2-3 hours in the day before. So keep an eye on when your exam orders are and practice, do the upcoming exams, but spread it out a little bit more. And then also I would still be doing some daily revision for exams that are a long time away. So sciences, prioritize this on your weaker subjects. So if there's anything you're really weak at, like English literature, for example, don't neglect that until the night before. You've got to keep up that practice, but prioritize the upcoming exams. So the day ahead, the few days ahead. Next piece of advice is weekends. Weekends is really important. This is when you should, during exam season, be getting the bulk of your revision done, and days you don't have exams too. So on the days I had exams, I would revise a little bit less. I'd try and make it a policy of mine to relax after the exam for a few hours. So my advice would be come back home and honestly just relax. You shouldn't just be going straight into revision after exams. You need to be able to pace yourself and manage yourself and not burn out during exam season. So me and my friend Noah, I've said this before, but we would come back to mine after an exam and just play games on my Xbox. And things like that, I just really recommend. Just de-stress yourself, watch some YouTube, watch a film, anything like that. I'd really recommend relaxing. That is just as important part of revision as hard revising is as well. So weekends and days you don't have an exam is really important because that's when you can do a lot of revision. And the reason I also say that you shouldn't just be revising for the subject tomorrow is I think it's really difficult to just revise one subject for like 5 hours, like a massive cram. It's much better to revise one subject for 2-3 hours and do loads of subjects in the weekends. So on the weekend, I'd look at the tests I had ahead of me and I would mostly prioritize all of those tests over the weekend with maybe a 60% priority on the upcoming exams, like closer. And then I'd have a bit more on the exams later in the week. And then I'd also maybe have an hour or 2 hours to go through flashcards or anything like that for exams quite a lot in the future. So make sure, the key takeaway of this is to make sure that you're spreading out your vision, you're looking ahead, but you're also prioritizing the upcoming exams. I'm going to be doing a video on what to do the night before and the days before and a specific exam. So make sure you're subscribed with notifications on for that because that will be another really important video. This is more of a how to structure your vision during exam season. My next bit of advice is half term. This is going to be really important. And once again, I'm going to be doing a video on this a little bit closer. So how I revise during half term. But during half term, you're a little under halfway through your exams. So it's a really good chance to reflect on how it's going and really push and accelerate and do a lot of revision during half term to revise as well. That being said, don't neglect the subjects after half term. That's really important too, that you just have a good spread out view of the upcoming exams. Okay, so that's most of my advice on how to structure it. It's just very, very important that you know not to just completely cram things. I didn't do that. The way I achieved success on my GCSEs was I was still revising the subjects upcoming, like in the future, and I was also prioritizing the subjects that were in the few days, but I wasn't losing sight of important exams later on. This meant I was more prepared for them, because when you start exams, you still have like a month's revision of the exams at the end of exam season. So you can really boost those grades and make sure that your exams right at the end are really strong, which is very important because a lot of people can drop off there. So please leave any comments if you have any more further questions, but I think this is a really important piece of advice because I did just sit my exams, so I know, well, I sat them 2 years ago, so I know how to revise during it and what you should be doing. So yeah, thank you for watching, and please leave any questions.